And I'm Angus from Cracka Wines. Today we are very pleased to have Steph Dutton from Penfolds, Australia's leading wine brand.
Yes.
Very much, guys.
And Cellar Reserve wines, which is, well, actually, you know better than I do. Please tell us about Cellar Reserve.
Yeah, look, Cellar Reserve wines for us, I think they're very much harking back to the days of experimental bins in the 50s and the 60s, where we were playing around with new varieties, new vineyards, new regions, new winemaking philosophies. It's very much about experimentation. A lot of it is trial and error. The ones that come to fruition obviously make it to bottle.
Yeah.
Some of them have a short history, things like the Traminer. Others, the Pinot Noir, we've just done the 14th vintage, and Sangiovese, similar sort of time frame.
And Peter, I mean, this is, you know, Peter Gago's baby to some extent.
It truly is. Yeah, he introduced the Cellar Reserve range in the 1990s, so before he became chief winemaker. And he wanted to just make sure that experimentation, innovation was still very much kept alive and well in the Penfolds stable.
Absolutely.
So
we're kicking off here with the Traminer, and just slightly controversially, it's
who drinks Traminer in Australia?
Well, I like Traminer, but controversially, this is labelled as a Traminer instead of being a Gewurz Traminer. So why?
Which it once was labelled as Gewurz Traminer, and I suppose when you're looking at wines that are about finding their feet stylistically, from a vineyard point of view, we can be a little bit more playful with the labels as well. It fits into the story of Cellar Reserves, and it'll be nice to see how it's received.
Yeah,
I actually think it's beautiful. I really think that, you know, Australia, I think, can struggle with Traminer. I think sometimes people go a bit sweet. Sometimes they pick a bit early because there's, you know, they want some acidity. This still has the, you know, that creamy Traminer texture, a bit of rose petal, real food style.
Absolutely. I mean, these vines were planted in the mid-70s, so fair bit of vine age on them now. Hopefully coming through with intensity, or showing with intensity on the palate. A little bit of residual sugar, but still, for a Traminer, a relatively dry style with lovely natural acid.
I mean, I hardly see the residual sugar actually. Like it's there, but it lacks that heaviness. Sometimes Australian Traminers, they get a bit heavy. You know, nothing like that here. Really, you know, elegant style. You want to try Traminer, lovely place to start, and $35 odd, isn't it? Or,
yeah, thereabouts. 30, 34, 35.
Oh, okay. Good.
Right then, so
exactly right.
Pinot Noir. Now, Andrew, Pinot Noir is a grape that you love very much, and you're not alone there. So, but you know, Penfolds is obviously a yes, please.
Thank you very much.
You know, Pinot Noir is obviously, you know, I guess, you know, not a style that Penfolds is well known for. Although, what, 15 vintages? Or,
yeah, 2011 marked the 14th. Okay. So we started playing around with Pinot Noir experimentally in 1995. Commercially, we bottled and released a 1997 vintage. And I suppose the fact that a lot of people aren't aware that Penfolds do a Pinot Noir is testament to the fact that these have always been small volumes, they're handcrafted wines, they get the kit glove treatment. They go through, you know, McGillis State Winery, which processes, you know, tiny 200 tonnes of fruit. It's a slightly different story for the Cellar Reserves. The Pinot Noir is regionally defined, so all Adelaide Hills fruit. Goes through the concrete open fermenters at McGillis State, which a lot of people may have already seen as well, and hand plunging, cold soaking, something, as I said, which is a bit of an anomaly for Penfolds.
I think this wine has, you know, it's got some nice grip to it. I think sometimes with Pinot Noir, some people, they're scared of grip. You know, they're scared of it having, you know, backbone. They want it to be just pure, silky smooth. Whereas, you know, a bit of phenolic grip, I think, you know, it adds something and makes it perhaps more food friendly, and maybe takes a bit away from the perfume and prettiness, but at the same time gives it some texture.
Structure.
Yeah, definitely. And I also think that this being done with the open fermenters, you also tend to find that you're going to get some more extraction to it. So you're going to find that it's going to have more tannins, and that will probably help it age a lot better too.
Absolutely. And in terms of building sort of structure and texture and mouthfeel, this wine actually goes through a basket press, and we send to a combination of new and old French oak, and it stays on gross lees for 9 months, which is a pretty risky approach for us to take.
Now, cheeky question.
Yeah, go for it.
What's this doing in it?
Yes.
Oh, well, I mean, we mentioned before that this range is truly Peter's little baby.
Yes.
He's incredibly protective of them.
He doesn't mind the old
Peter,
cork, does he?
And the rest of the team. You know, it's nice to see that, you know, a good cork, I think, is better than a good screw cap. But at the same time, you can never guarantee a good cork. But the fact that this truly is Peter's baby, you see a little bit of his influence.
Right, okay, he just said, I'm having corks.
So Cabernet, do you see a difference? Because we've got Cabernet from an older vintage under screw cap. We've got a younger vintage Pinot Noir. Do you see a difference? You know, is the perspective there's difference in aging between Cabernet under cork and Pinot under cork?
Yeah, I think definitely. I mean, natural product and two different varieties. There are going to be differences, undeniably. The the Cellar Reserve Cabernet from Barossa Valley, it's got a lot of life in it. It's got a lot of time to live still. It is quite a big wine. You're looking at 20 plus years.
Yeah, I agree.
So it'll be interesting to see how it goes under screw cap. The Pinot Noir certainly has, I think, selling potential as well. You're looking at maybe 10 plus years, but all of a sudden, you know, half the time frame that I've just mentioned for the Cellar Reserve Cabernet, which, as with 707, has a lot of years.
Absolutely. And the vineyard source for this Cabernet, now we've actually moved on to Cabernet, a lot of this comes from one of the, probably the most special Cabernet vineyards in Australia, if you like.
If not one of the most special vineyards.
One of the oldest. It's one of the oldest.
The oldest.
The oldest.
The oldest continually producing Cabernet vines that are still standing. So harking back to the 1880s, no one has yet disputed that they are the oldest continually producing vines. Block 42, an incredibly important part of Penfolds' heritage and history when you're looking at bins back in the 50s. The very first vintages have been 707.
68.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
It has a very long-standing history, so it's lovely to see a little bit of that Block 42 character coming through with this wine here. And a great contrast to 707. 707, multi-regional, fruit sourcing philosophy is quite different, and 100% American oak. Here we're looking at 100% French oak.
I mean, I think the Cellar Reserve Cabernet is really it's quite an amazing wine, really. Like, it really has depth, it has character, it smells like Cabernet, it smells like the Barossa, it's got backbone, it's got beautiful length. But the fascinating thing about this wine is, I think it has that unique combination. We're actually seeing great Nebbiolo, you're seeing great Claret even, is the ability to drink beautifully young. The balance is there from a young wine. But then also has the backbone to, you know, kick on for, as you rightly say,
live a long life.
21 years.
Yeah, absolutely. And that approachability in its youth certainly is there. Mind you, we're looking at a one that's 5 years old now.
Yeah, definitely.
It certainly doesn't even look 5 years old. Testament.
There's a bit of cederiness coming through though. Like
lovely oak influence, I think, from the French oak that we've selected as well. So
it's just good to see some varietal characters in there. I think that's something that's, as far as Penfolds goes, often the sort of the styles we're talking about, like 707, it's all about a wine that's big and rich and often shows a lot of oak, whereas this, I think, actually shows the oaks a lot more integrated compared to 707 in particular.
Yeah.
And it's just nice to see that slightly cedary character. You're like, hello, Cabernet, welcome back.
Yeah, great.
But Australian too, I think, like, you know, it's Cabernet, you know, the Penfolds style is sometimes quite a boisterous style and quite a mouth-filling style.
And truly always Penfolds. It has that thumbprint, it has that genetic backbone that runs through it.
That's right. Why people keep coming back.
Exactly right.
But this wine has, you know, mid-weight Cabernets were really where, you know, it's where sometimes South Australian Cabernet sometimes falls down. It tries to be too big and too muscular.
Great tannins.
Yeah.
Shows the pedigree, I think, of
a cheeky little vineyard.
Yeah, that's right.
And we're actually going to go on to, we're all going to finish off in here on something really quite unique. And I think this is the first time there's ever been one of these commercially released, am I right?
This is the second vintage here, 2010, that we're looking at. Certainly a very playful style of winemaking. Truly Kim Schroeder's little baby, this one here as well. And looking at, again, a single vineyard, as we often are with the Cellar Reserve range. You know, single vineyards, single regions that we're wanting to explore. And Viognier, which...
Yeah, exactly. So
not only any Viognier, but Barossa Valley Viognier.
Exactly right. Down towards Lindop Way.
So the warmer side, one might say.
Yeah.
Seems to be taking a slight rosé.
Yes, with some rosé Viognier going on here.
The flavour will destroy it. Destroy the colour.
Yeah.
It just smells like absolutely kind of tinned apricots.
Very intense, very intensely
fragrant.
aromatic, very much so. Yeah, there's that
classic
frangipani. Yeah, and I like nectarine in there too. They're just like a big basket full of fruit, this one.
Yeah.
It's 150 grams of residual sugar. I mean, all your daily calories could be in one glass.
Little nip at the end of a meal, certainly. This for us, as I said, playful in our winemaking approach, in that we're looking at an Australian version of an ice wine. It's a late harvest style, you know, 15 to 16 Beaumet for this Viognier. And we are freezing in tank, and we're taking the juice off and leaving the ice behind, concentrating up the sugars. and a resting ferment when we think that sugar acid balance is just right.
Absolutely.
Aussie ice wine.
Yeah.
It is like Aussie ice wine. And I hate to say be a heretic, but I reckon this is Pav wine.
Yeah, okay.
I'm feeling a Pav wine right
citrus, dairy work really well with this as well. Those citrus pastry desserts,
I'm down with that.
souffle.
I just started thinking about Pav.
Yeah,
I
agree entirely.
I think
the fruit, and I just like Pav.
I think
I
that
agree
means
entirely.
I think it means it's Pav time.
It's Pav time.
I
Probably
think so.
is.
From Cracka Wines, thank you very much. I hope you've
Thank
enjoyed
you.
this. Thank you very much, Steph.
Down, down, down.